was really close to death. And he just said, Jack, give my love to the department. Okay, so those were the last words he said to me. And it resonated so strongly with me in terms of his humour and the loving humanity that he'd distinguished his work for 20 odd years in the Department of Education, that I then overcame my embarrassment. And I still feel a little twinge when you'll see if I get emails from me. It will be like Jack with a little signature to explain why. But I'm really convinced that we need to face the embarrassment of putting our loving, what we actually love to do, at the heart of our educational research. And I have the courage to do that now because of Martin. You know, that passion of Martin's to say, okay, Jack, you know, please give my love to the department. And I hope you feel, even as I'm speaking, that what you do with me, by being present with you and seeing the energy yesterday, you evoke my energy. So I hope you're feeling an expression of, if you like, a loving energy. I am loving what I'm doing at this moment. And I'm hoping you feel this kind of energy, which was coming into, I think, the making of the guitars. I think you could feel the passion that those people had for creating a beautiful instrument and then being able to play it. So that loving energy, which is missing from almost any educational research around the globe, and it's certainly not in the academic journals that you will be reading in educational research, it is omitted. And what I want to convince you of is the need for multimedia accounts, visual accounts. Like Trygve is very good, and that was a beautiful documentary. And I've been encouraging Trygve to say, well, look, if you will actually express your talents to actually show what educators do with their students, just as you've shown the creation of a beautiful guitar and the lovely music, now, can you actually use your talent to generate living accounts of educators with their students to show the qualities that we all express in our classrooms? Okay, so that is what I'm hoping to convince you of, and I'll show you just one or two video clips and a process I call empathetic validity and empathetic resonance to show you how I think you could use videos of yourselves to communicate the energy and the meaning of the values that you use to make sense of your own lives in education. Now what I want to do is, I actually want to pause because I've said what I want out of this session. I'm very clear what I want to see in a year or two are your accounts as educators flowing through the web in a way that communicates your passionately held values and your influences with your students. Okay, so that's what I really hope, that I captivate some of your imaginations to actually do that and actually live some of those values through the research. Now what I want to do is just pause, because I'm wondering whether you've come with any either expectations or interests or things that you feel, yeah, no, I'd like to get this out of this session. I want to understand this. And sometimes with an audience, it's really helpful to get a sense of if you've come with something rather than just me transmitting the knowledge that I feel I have. It's much better to get an engaged response from you and with you in things that really interest you. So I'm going to pause and just ask if there is anything that you've come with which actually is motivating you, which you feel, yes, I hope we cover this in the next hour. So is there anything of that kind that you'd just like to share?
Can I start?
Okay.
Because I was so amazed to look at all the applications for this workshop. And I saw that there were applicants from countries far away. And I thought this was a tremendous experience to meet people from countries I never ever met before. So I think this intercultural expectation and also the authentic meeting with the people opened your eyes for new perspectives, that there are other ways of living which is as valuable as the way you are living. So I think this is a tremendous experience that will enrich your life and mean a lot for you in the future.
Okay. I'd like to get any other just responses, because I'll respond to Carrie and show how we might join a global community through the web if we want to sustain a connection using this medium. Any other issues, interests that you have? Yes, Tom?
In university, going into school and studying teachers, you know, one problem is that everybody else trying to say what is the problem with the school, and everybody else trying to come with solutions to the school on how they are. So what I'm looking forward to in your research is maybe to see a more a look from the teachers, or closer to the teachers' world in the research, and to learn how to put out that voice in the discussion about the school. So that is one of my expectations.
Now, I hope I can fulfill that by showing you what we call the action planning process, starting with the teachers' concerns, not the researchers, not mine, but how the teacher can actually say what is concerning them from their values, and how we can work with that to make really excellent accounts that we can share. So that's from Tom, okay? Any others? Yes, Christine.
I think this is very interesting, because I have been doing research, research in kindergartens in Norway, and they are changing their way of really teaching the children, or living with the children, in the Reggio Emilia approach. Do you know Reggio Emilia from France? And
Italy.
yeah, from Italy.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted to see how you're doing this, because I found living with these teachers, and we were exploring how we changed during 2 years. It was very, very interesting.
Okay, look, any more before I go on? You've got 3 issues there, which are really important at the heart of what I've been doing. Any others, so I can get a sense in the room? Anything from here? No? Yeah.
You asked about the expectations. Apart from the intercultural encounters and learning by meeting other peoples from other countries, from Norway in particular, I'm looking for some orientation for saving my values or questioning my values in comparison with this great challenge on the internet.
And that, what about values, is again right at the heart of what all of the teachers actually work with. So I hope you see some of the answers to the kind of questions that you're asking are shared with the teachers I've been working with, especially about values. Now, I hope you've seen that to change our pedagogy, you know, this idea that yesterday I was in a tiered lecture theatre. Okay? I was trying to engage with the people with me who literally, the rows had their backs to each other. So it was all tiered. It's a bit like this, or this is much more friendly because you can turn around and engage with each other. Now, one of the big changes, pedagogically, that I had to learn to bring about was silence. Carrie, I think, had quite a low tolerance of the silence, and you very nicely came in quickly. Did you?
That's true.
Now, I have learned that I can, and it is quite difficult, it's painful initially, you're embarrassed, but I could have outweighted all of you, right? Until you were feeling so uncomfortable, some of you started to actually come forward. When that happens, I can now work with what has come from you and make a response from your needs and your interests. And I think we can do this together, collaboratively. But it is a big change in the pedagogy for most of my colleagues at the University of Bath, where for 30 odd years, the tiered lecture theatre, you know, the person at the front would be dominating. And yesterday, all I had to do was cough, and the room became quiet. Now, it's the control, and you experience that. Now, the control is very difficult to actually break, and yet I think this is one of the big shifts we've got to learn to make, to enable both ourselves and our students to find their voice and be taken seriously. So let me just respond to the questions and the interests. And if there are any more, don't hesitate to actually intervene, put up your hand, just say what it is, because this is what I want more than anything. It is that engagement with you. As talented educators, what really matters to you? Can we do something useful that you leave this session and feel, yes, that was memorable, I got something from it. Now, if I just take Carrie's web, we're all from those 17 different countries.
19.
19 now. It is 19. So 47 in the Council of Europe, 19. Now, if you wish to just retain some connection, you can actually join this list. If you go into actionresearch.net, and most of you will have your computers here, and with the wireless connections in our room, you will be able just to access actionresearch.net. If you go into what's new in that right-hand column, and you go down to the bottom, just go to the bottom of that list, and you'll see that you've got a practitioner researcher seminar. If you click on this, you can actually join that or leave it, and all you need to do is to put your name and you put your address. So you put your name, your address, and then you just click on, there is a subscribe, so you've got an update option, which I'm actually involved in. So you would see here, subscribe, and you would just click on that. And then this would come to me, I would join you up, and you'd be able to then communicate and post to each other interesting topics from your research, questions you want to ask and answer. And if you go into the access, you can see the back conversations that have been going on, and you'll see I've been sustaining this one from 2004. And it's all broken down month by month. You can get into any of these, access what the postings are, make your own contributions. There's this one here from Roman, is a Czech researcher. It came through this morning, and he's asking for contributions to a Czech journal for finding the voice of students to see what they're doing. And all you would need to do is access that, and then you could respond to it. I'll just show you one other, because I was really pleased to receive this from this guy, Alan Markovitz. Now, this one from Alan is asking from a College of St. Elizabeth in New Jersey, USA, to work collaboratively with myself and others on an action research project which brings our ideas together. And I met Alan at a Council of Europe session in Zagreb in May, and it was from that connection that we're creating a collaboration between researchers in the USA, others in Europe, and myself, within the UK. Are you okay with this? Just as an idea about how you might, if you wish, just connect in with researchers like ourselves that want to improve our practice. And it's like that point of Carrie's, how might we do this? That is just one suggestion that you can access now. You can get into that practitioner researcher list from the What's New section of actionresearch.net. Now, just remember that this is an electronic gateway, things flowing into you, and they're freely available. So all of those doctoral theses in that living theory section on the left here have all been made available by educators like ourselves, all of those there. I'll just mention these from master's students who, I'll just reduce the size a little so you might just be able to get a sense of the things that have been done. But if you look at these questions, how do I develop my personal view of gifts and talents? So these are all master students. How can I improve my practice as an educator to offer learners a creative and challenging curriculum which enables everyone to identify and develop their own talents, which also makes space for the nurturing of relationships to enable individual